Hey guys, this will probably be the first video I actually am able to do in real life. This is going to be a kind of disassembly on this Dell Dimension 9150. This is a very old computer, at least old by my standards. This computer is from 2006, which means that this computer is now, as of this video's publishing, 19 years old, which is absolutely insane. But I have noticed there's basically no YouTube videos on this computer. And this specimen we have here is mostly working. The only thing that is wrong with it is over here. If you look, it has no graphics card. This is a all media PC, so on its actual board it has none of the available slots for VGA out or anything like that, but it does have the population points. So if you are skilled at soldering, you could probably come in here and populate these points. But I do not have any breakout boards or anything like that to do that with, so I'm not going to touch it. Today's video is all about just tearing down this entire thing, because videos like this, to my knowledge, do not exist. So grab your screwdriver and yeah, let's get into it. Now, starting off, going off of everything right here, it's going to be a lot. The first place we're going to start is with this CPU chassis and this little plastic bar here. Now, one thing I noticed is all of these older Dells, they are really well put together and kind of over-engineered in a way. But these things, rest assured, if you drop them, the only thing breaking will be the floor. Unless you're really unlucky. So, to get started, all I'm going to do is just pop this little plastic tab off the CPU. Ooh, it's kind of like a holding bracket. It's a little bit tricky. At least to me it is. Be careful though, you do not want to break this old plastic. I have already done something like that. You'll just have to glue it back together and hope it works. So now that we got this bar up, the first thing we're going to do is, it's going to be kind of hard to see, but down here you'll have 4 screws like you would on any modern computer. We are not going to be unscrewing all 4 of them, at least not yet. We're going to be unscrewing the one that's right here and right here. So I'm going to quickly do that. Alright, let's see here if it'll pop up a little aggressively, but yeah, as you can see, the bracket comes off in 2 places. The thermal paste is new, but it's pretty crusty. I do not have any more, so we're not going to be replacing the thermal paste in this video. But if you can see there's this little plastic bracket that on this thing, it goes in here, and it kind of acts like a swivel point to lock in. It's a very cool design. We'll put this CPU shroud off to the side. Now, the next thing we will be removing is this right here. Now, the way that this works is down here there's this little pull tab that you pull up, and you pull it this way. But I've seen a lot of these tabs before, and I initially thought you pull down. No, you pull up and with your other hand push out, and then right here this little part is also part of the CPU, well, the CPU fan, and we'll just go ahead and gently pull this off. Now, as you can see, my particular one is very, very dirty. That is perfectly fine. Just make sure you clean these. This is as best as I could get it. If yours is like this, just don't worry about it. These fans in particular will spin incredibly fast, And I know this because when I plugged this thing in, it did in fact sound like a turbine. And I will be turning this computer on at the very end just to show you guys what it sounds like. So we'll put this off to the side with the fan shroud. And look, now you got a little bit more room for activities over here. Now, there is another fan that goes right here, but currently the one that I had was broken, so it's taken out, and I will either need to fix it or get a fan replacement. Probably Noctua, because it's just kind of the best. Now, there are 3 IDE cables. Now, if you're like me, you were born after IDE. We never really got to know what these cables do. But luckily, after some finagling, I remembered where every single one of these cables go, roughly. So we'll go ahead and do a little bit of teardown. The first thing is right here. There's this little board. This is the front I/O and also the power button. So in order to disconnect it, there's this little yellow pull tab right here. All you got to do is pull back. It's gonna be a little bit hard. Just kind of, if you have to, get 2 fingers in there and as much leverage as you need, and just pull it out. And I know that is hair-clenchingly horrifying to all of you guys who are probably watching this. We are used to very delicate computers, but these things are meant to take a beating. It is fine. Now this IDE cable runs just under the power supply, and it's a little bit harder to finagle out, but once you just snake it out, you can just get your fingers up under there and, like before, pull it out. And there you go. There's your first of 3 IDE cables that goes to the front I/O. Put this off somewhere and make sure to remember it. Next, we will be working on the IDE cables that go to the disk drive and to the CD DVD drive. Now, these will be marked by 2 orange pullback kind of ribbons. I don't know what you call them. If you do know, please make sure to leave a comment. You just got to pull it out. These ones should come out a bit easier than the front I/O. And there you go. This top one goes to whatever hard drive you have on top, and this bottom one goes to the CD drive. Now you just got to come down here, and there will be a similar orange tab right here, and you just got to pull it up. Again, very terrifying, and it makes me scared that I'm going to rip out one of those pins every single time. But I know it's fine, because I make sure to check every single time that these cables are still fine and that the headers are perfectly usable. Now, make sure you remember, these go to your CD and your DVD drive, but not in this order. This is your disk drive, and this is your CD drive, and that's where it plugs in on the board. Next up, we will do your floppy drive. If I remember correctly, yep, this is your floppy drive. It is technically an IDE cable as well, from what I've seen. We'll do this one board side first. It comes in right here, and this one has a little bit of a different pull tab. You just pull it up. This one's nice and easy. And you come in over here, and you can just kind of easily wiggle this one out. It's a very nice and easy one. And we'll just set that one off to the side, because it's the smallest. You should remember it better. Now we will take out this very long SATA cable. You just got to go under here, and with that simple little pull tab, you just pull up, and you can go ahead and pull this out, and it connects over here. Now, when it comes to putting this back in, just do not worry. Whatever one of these you use will still work. I just like to color match, so the one that I plugged this one into is blue every single time, same as my gloves. So we'll go and put that one off to the side. The last main cable the last IDE cable we'll be unhooking is the one that goes to the extra I/O. Now this one should be similarly easy. Just make sure, like I said before, to get some leverage and just unplug. Simple as that. And over here, we'll just lock that place. There we go. And unplug. This is, you're going to be going down on this side of the board and coming in to the additional I/O. No, this one is actually to the floppy drive, and this top one that I've pulled out, the small one, is to the additional I/O. So there you go. Floppy drive, additional I/O. Put these both off to the side now. What you're mainly left with is all the power cables that go to the power supply. Now, you will want to start off with the disk drive at the bottom, and you can just pull it out. And originally these would thread into plastic tabs on the bottom and would be pulled in through this little grate in the middle. I quickly decided that that was pretty ignorant by the original designers, so I went ahead and I pulled this out down through here and I melted the tabs off to free this cable. If you want to, you can go in and cable manage this with some simple zip cables or whatever, but I choose to just keep it like this, and it's mostly fine. So first thing we'll do is we'll disconnect this floppy drive power, and we will disconnect this disk drive power. And from there, we will disconnect the 4-pin motherboard header. From there, we will disconnect the power supply's main header to the board. I am having some difficulty disconnecting the motherboard header. There we go. Now, all of your power stuffs should just be free and easy to move up, or if you're like me and keep them free, it'll be a little bit tricky if one of those cables just so happen to slide under the motherboard. And there you go. There's most of the cables disassembled. Now you will just need to disassemble the power. Well, you just need to unscrew the power supply, and you can slide it out and then it'll be gone. So I will quickly do that. Make sure you keep all your screws somewhere safe. I have management magnets up here along the top side of my shelf, so I will put these screws in those little management holsters. And there you go. There is your power supply. Done and done. We'll just go ahead and lift this up. It's a dusty boy, all right. Every single one of these are actually, from what I've seen, lower rated. These are able to actually output 400 watts max, but on there it's actually listed as 375 max. Just make sure you watch out for these power supplies. These older ones are a little bit higher wattage. We'll just go ahead and pull this out and we'll put it off to the side somewhere. Now, what you're left with is all of your front panel stuff and the motherboard itself, and this little plastic piece that we can remove anytime we want to. First things first, I think it would probably be best to go ahead and do this. So what you need to do to get all these out easily is you push this in, and what it does is it unlocks the front panel for you to slide off. And it'll come off nice and easy, and you will just set this also off to the side somewhere. From there, you can just easily slide the PC back And every single thing that you want to go out, you push this back in and pull it out. There you go. Starting off, there's the floppy drive. This next one is the front panel. More additional I/O. The individual markings are here for you to look at. If your computer does not have this, just simply ignore this. Next comes out the disk drive. Look at that. I'm lucky. I have a DVD drive. These older DVD drives will be able to play your slower discs. So if you do manage to get your hands on computers like this, if you write any DVDs with these, it will be in a format that most modern disk drives cannot use anymore from what I've experienced. So I will hang on to this, because if I do not use this again, I will see if I can't find another computer that can use this. As you can see, my unit does have rust though. So long as it hasn't penetrated on the inside, we will be fine. Lastly, I do have a simple IDE hard drive. I did put this in here, but the IDE cable did not reach this way. This isn't like SATA where you can just move that SATA cable anywhere so long as the power supply can move a cable down to here. This is supposed to go right there. I just pulled it out. Lastly, we do have the SATA hard drive. Now to get this out, this plastic is very brittle, but you got to push in and slide up gently. And there you go. In my case, this is a 160 gigabyte hard drive, and this is also a 160 gigabyte hard drive. Very good for media back during the time. But now, that is nothing. We have terabyte hard drives. Lastly, you have the motherboard. These screws are very tricky. Over here you have a simple PCI Express. You got PCI, PCIe, and 2 more PCI. I do not remember what this is called. If you do, remind me in the comments. I will appreciate it very much. There is one last thing we will have to do before we go into here. I do not know what the CPU is, so I'm leaving it in here. But the RAM. I have 2 of the 4 slots populated. And it is populated with 512 megabytes of what appears to be DDR2 memory. So pretty speedy for the time. Which means in total we have 1 gigabyte of DDR2 memory. I know originally out of the factory these would come populated with upwards of what I remember to be 8 gigabytes. Now don't be afraid to put these hard drives back, well these RAM sticks back in with a little bit of force. Like everything in life, a little bit of force is sometimes just necessary. There you go. Once you hear those clicks, that's how you know it's back in place. Now lastly, you will have mini screws around the motherboard. Some of them are in annoying to reach places, like over here. If I remember correctly, only have a few. Mainly these 2 mounts, and that would just lift the motherboard right out. I will not be lifting out the motherboard. I do not want to. So I will explain one last thing while I have this computer apart. If you can see it right here over in this area, you have the little latch to close the PCI card area. So in order to close it, you just kind of have to push it in, like lift it up, push it in. There you go. Now it's in. It's part of the case and it's pretty dang rigid. Now to get it apart, you literally just lift up and off, and there you go. That's how that works. That is the last thing I would really need to explain. Other than that, it's just simply just putting it back together. And I will cut or speed up this part of the video so when we have that done. All right, it is all back together. Now I will just quickly power it on. You've got a green light on the board, and it is now on. And this is what it sounds like. I do not know why it sounds like this. I think it's overspinning. It may be because of the crappy thermal paste and the fact that I cannot replace it. Whatever the case, it is getting really, really good airflow right now, so it should be fine. Just make sure you wear gloves, and rest assured that those gloves will not last long and will probably get sliced open at some point. So make sure you have many, many gloves if you're working on these older computers. This one is a bit of a dust box, but what can I say? It's fine. It's a good computer. I like it. Anyway, that'll be it. See ya.